Some say a bad decision makes a good story. For your sake, I hope so. Deciding to move to San Jose in the late summer of 1974 seemed like a good decision. It wasn't totally random. As a newly minted University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Art School graduate, I just wanted to work as an illustrator in some place that was warm. I had no idea that electronics, software, and cutting-edge technology were brewing in what was becoming Silicon Valley, because I'd never been there, or any place on the West Coast. Still, I packed my stuff into a used $300 Ford Cortina that I was sure would be fine, because I had driven it for a month with no problem. And anyway, my co-pilot, Greg, was an engineering student who repaired cars and motorcycles. We'd drive to San Jose, and he'd take the train back. In effect, I was Bilbo Baggins to Greg's Gandalf. I would make this connection later in our trip, when we'd pull off the highway going up Mount Tamalpais, and in the gravel, find a copy of The Hobbit. I wasn't sure when I'd take another such journey, so I decided to take the scenic route. Greg was up for it. Every day, the temperature ranged from the high 80s to the 90s. We ran the heater full blast to keep the engine from overheating, and opened all the windows and vents to keep us from overheating. As the sun was setting on a brutally hot day, we drove into Idaho on a freshly paved 2-lane blacktop highway alongside a river. The road curved right and left, but mostly up. The hills got steeper, the night got darker. The blacktop blended into the night sky. Luckily, with the sun gone and us going up, the air cooled down. Finally, relief after a long, hot day of driving. After a while, exhaustion caught up with me. I got loopy. Pretty soon the lines seemed to lift off the road and twist and turn on their own. And the car was overheating again as it struggled to get up the hill. We needed to get to a motel before we both totally crashed, but decided we'd better pull over and give the car time to cool down. After a half hour, we started it up. After 10 minutes, it was overheating again. We'd find out later it was because the exhaust system had a leak that screwed up the pressure in the cylinders, that screwed up the timing, that made the engine work harder, that made it overheat, or something like that. And people ask me why I drive an electric car. We pulled the car off the road, got out our sleeping bags, and climbed over a rancher's fence. Following our flashlights, we plodded up a hill until it flattened out. We threw down our bags and crawled in. Starry darkness, crickets, perfect sleep. Darkness, bird songs, squinting eyes infiltrated by bright sun. I sat up and blinked at the most magnificent scenery I'd ever seen spread out around me. It was as though I had woken up on top of the world, a vast, sweeping, beautiful world. There'd be lots of uppers and downers on that trip, and later in my life. Was my trip to San Jose a good decision? Yeah, it was. Movies by Martino.
Small movies.
Big fun.